Hey guys, welcome back. I'm filling in for Michael today. He's had his hands full this weekend with his parents. We've had some health issues, but we're getting back on track. Today we are going to read Nehemiah. Thought I had it. Nehemiah 13 and Esther through Esther 2 today. Let's get going. On the day they read in the book of Moses in the audience of the people, and therein was found written that the Ammonite and the Moabite should not come unto the congregation of God forever, because they met not the children of Israel with bread and water, but hired Balaam against them, that he should curse them. Howbeit our God turned the curse into a blessing. Now it comes to pass, when they had heard the law, that they separated from Israel all the mixed multitude. And before this, Elishabab the priest have the oversight of the chamber of the house of our God, was allied to Tobiah, and he had prepared for him a great chamber, where after time they laid the meat offerings, the frankincense, and the vessels, and the tithe of the corn, the new wine, the oil, which was commanded to be given to the Levites, and the singers, and the porters, and the offerings of the priest. But in all this time was not at Jerusalem, for in the 213th year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, came unto the king, and after certain days obtained I leave of the king. And I came to Jerusalem, and understood of the evil that Elishabab did to Tobiah, in preparing him a chamber in the courts of the house of God. And it grieved me sore. Therefore I cast forth all the household stuff of Tobiah out of the chamber. Then I commanded, and they cleansed the chambers, and Tithe brought I again the vessel of the house of God, with the meat offerings and the frankincense. And I perceived that the portions of the Levites had not been given them, for the Levites and the singers that did the work were fled every one to his field. Then contended I with the ruler, and said, Why is the house of God forsaken? And I gathered them together, and set them in their place. Then brought all Judea the tithe of the corn, and the new wine, and the oil into the treasuries. And I made treasurers over the treasuries, Shemallah the priest, and Zodek the scribe of the Levites, Pedaiah, and next to them was Hannah, the son of Zachar, the son of Mattaniah, for they were counted faithful, and their office was to distribute unto their brethren. Remember me, O my God, concerning this, and wipe not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my God, and for the offices thereof. In those days saw I in Judea some treading wine presses on the Sabbath, and bringing in sheaves, and lading asses as also wine, grapes and figs, and all manner of burdens, which they brought unto Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals. There dwelt men of Also, Tryon. Also, is that right? Did I skip a page? Trade. Also therein which brought fish and all manner of ware and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judea and Jerusalem. Then I contended with the nobles of Judea and said unto them, What evil thing is this that ye do, and profane the Sabbath day? Did not your fathers thus, and did not your Father our God bring all this evil upon us, and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath. And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gate, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sailors of all kinds were where lodged without Jerusalem once or twice. Then I testified against them, and said unto them, Why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you. From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath. And I commanded the Levites that they should cleanse themselves, and that they should come and keep the gates to sanctify the Sabbath day. Remember me, O my God, concerning this also, and spare me according to the greatness in thy mercy. In those days also Saul of Ashdod and Ammon and of Moab, and their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod, and could not speak in the Jews' language, but according to the language of each people. And I contend with them, and cursed them, and smote certain of them, and plucked off their hair, and made them swear by God, saying, Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon king of Israel sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his God, and God made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did outlandish women cause to sin. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our God, and marry strange wives? And one of the sons of Jodiah, the son of Elisheba, the highest priest, was son-in-law to Sanballat the Horonite. Therefore I chased him from me. Remember, O my God, because they have fulfilled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and of the Levites. Thus cleansed I them from all strangers, and appointed the words of the priests and the Levites, every one in his business, and for the wood offerings at the time appointed, and for the first fruits. Remember me, O my God, for good. On to Esther. Now it came to pass in the days of Hashrutus. This is Hashrutus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. That in those days, when the king of Ashur sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made it a feast unto all his princes and his servants, that the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and the prince of the province, bring before him, when he shewed the riches of his glorious kingdom, and the honor of his excellent majesty. many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hanging, fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance, according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also Vashti the queen made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehumah, Besida, and Harboniah, Bigthroa, and Abathar, and Zerthar, and Carcas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to shew the people and the prince her beauty, for she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come to the king's command by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner towards all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Charshena, Sethler, Adamathiah, Tarshia, Meriza, Marcelina, and Memulkan, and 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the king's kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the prince, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king, only also to all the prince, and to all the people that are in all the princes of providences, of the king Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto the women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes. When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all king's prince, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medias, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all of his empire, for it is great. All the wives shall give to their husbands honor both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the prince. And the king did according to the word of Mechumah, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing, therefore to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of everybody. After these things, when the wrath of the king Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, Let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in the province of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the place to the house of women, unto the custody of Hegorg the king chamberlain, keeper of women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen, instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jarar, the son of Shami, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jehoiakim, the king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadaziah and Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan, the palace, to the custody of Hegai, and that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Hegai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, which such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were met to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not shewed her people nor her kindred for Mordecai, and had charged her that she should not shew it. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house, to know how Esther did, and what should become of her. Now, when every maid's turn was to go into the king Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women. For so were the days of their purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the woman. Then thus came every maiden unto the king, whatsoever she desired was given to her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of women, to the custody of Sharasa, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines she came into the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, and uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai the king's chamberlain, the keeper of women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all of them that looked upon her. So Esther was taken unto the king Ahasuerus unto his house, royal in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all of the virgins, so that he set the royal crown up on her head and made her queen, instead of Vashti. When the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast, and he made a release to the providence, and gave gifts according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet shewed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the condemnment of Mordecai like is when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresa, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen, and Esther certified the king thereof Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on the tree, and it was written in the book of Chronicles before the king. All right, that's all for today. Keep Michael's family in your prayers, and we will see you tomorrow.